Hello, everyone. It is Sunday, and I am going live because tomorrow, which is my regular live day, is I'm going to be I have a couple of appointments that I have to make, so I figured I'd go on a day, um, real quick for about 30-40 minutes and do my content because I don't want to starting over by missing dates. But Monday is normally my date. I just popped on today. I tried to check and see if anybody else was on because I don't want to interfere with anybody else's time slot. And I don't think anyone was on from what I could see. But I could be wrong. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see you all here. Thank you for being here, coming in. I appreciate you. Um, We're going to talk about fruit trees today, growing them in pots for the small backyard gardeners or for the people who don't have a backyard or just a small area to grow. It's not impossible. We'll make the excuses, but it's really not impossible to grow in your backyard or to grow on your patio or your deck or whatever you have available. You still can grow fruit trees. Now, last week we spoke about um, growing small fruit, and that was for the patio or the backyard gardener that doesn't have a lot of space as well. This week we're going to step it up to fruit trees. And you might be like, well, backyard gardener, how can I grow fruit trees if um, I don't have a lot of space? Good afternoon, Melanie, the moderator. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. So this is what our conversation is going to be about today. For the backyard grower is fruit trees. Now, believe it or not, fruit trees really grow well in containers. Certain fruit trees. And I'm going to tell you today which fruit trees that you can grow and what you need to look out for when selecting your fruit trees for the backyard garden. Um, I know this is kind of a sudden thing being on a Sunday because I'm normally not on a Sunday. I'm normally on a Monday, but tomorrow I have an appointment, so that's why I'm on today. And I don't want to start back missing dates. So this is what we got. If you have the ability to share me out, please do so to let people know that I am in here. Okay, so fruit trees to grow well in pots. Fruit trees can grow well in pots as long as they're on a dwarf rootstock. That's the most important thing. When you go out to select your trees, you got dwarf, semi-dwarf, and you got standard. A lot of times, if you get your trees from like Home Depot, Lowe's, or even Walmart, it doesn't tell you if they're dwarf, semi-dwarf, or standard. So you got to you're taking a chance. If you go to the nurseries, it will tell you you have the ability to select if you want a dwarf or a semi-dwarf or a standard rootstock. That rootstock means that that tree is only going to grow so far because it's been grafted on a rootstock that's not going to allow that tree to take off and grow like a standard tree. A standard tree can get anywhere from 18 feet and higher. That's not ideal for a small backyard. It's not ideal for a patio or a small space. But a dwarf tree will be the perfect time to grow or tree to grow in a small backyard. Some people they don't want to put their trees in the ground. For whatever reason it could be because they don't want to mess up. They worry about the root system going into their plumbing, or they may not own their home, they're renting, or they may not plan on staying in their home for a long term. So what they do is you can grow your tree in a pot. That way, if you move or if you worry about any type of construction damages to your trees, you don't have to worry about it because you're basically you have it in a pot and you can move it where you want to. A lot of problems that I do see in uh, planting trees is it's in the wrong place. But once you put it in that place, it's like I can't move it because I didn't put it in the ground. I'm gonna keep disturbing the roots. So a lot of us will plant our trees for the first 2 years of owning them in a pot just to see which area would be the ideal area in that yard that they can grow that tree in, which will benefit that tree the most. And that's what you want to do. You want to find the ideal area in the yard that's going to benefit that tree the most, where you get all the sunshine, where you get everything that that tree needs, where it's not too close to the fence, it's not too close to the neighboring yard, it's not too close to um, uh, being a nuisance to someone else, because everybody is not gardeners. Let me get into my chat and say hello. Give me a second. I'm over in my studio, and I need to be over on the channel so that I can see, because I can't I can't really see up here. So just bear with me a second. And let me see who I have in here. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I know this is a little bit of a impromptu, but I appreciate you guys being here. Marie Williams, hello. Thank you for coming. NJ Kelly, hello. Lynn Hill, hello. How are you? I appreciate you guys for being here. Melanie, the moderator, thank you for being here. Basically, we're talking about growing fruit trees. A lot of us now have a desire to grow fruit trees, but we feel that we can't do it because of our living arrangement or our living situation or our space. That's not necessarily true. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it. Now, fruit trees that grow well in pots, as long as there is on a dwarf rootstock. That's all you have to remember. Get a dwarf rootstock type tree. And it'll tell you if you get them from the nurseries, if it's a dwarf standard or if it's a semi-dwarf. It's best to plant them in the winter or early spring in that pot while they're still dormant. You don't have to worry about it going into shock, because once it starts coming out of dormancy, if it's already established and setting in the pot, it really can't go in shock. It's going to start to grow with the environment that it's given. So the best time to do it is when that tree is in dormant in the winter or coming into spring. Experimental gardener, hello, thank you for coming in. Another thing that we should look out, another tip that we should look out for when you're planting your trees is put it in a nice sunny area. Fruit trees love sun. They thrive on sun. A lot of things that kind of like affect a fruit tree is the sun and the heat, and they will start to fry them. But for the most part, fruit trees love to be in sun. So you want to make sure that you pick a sunny area. And with being in a pot, you definitely can adjust that fruit tree around. You can take it from one area and put it in another area. You don't have to worry about it's permanent now. And this is a good thing even if you have a big yard, even if you have a big um, plot of land. It might not be bad for that first year when you get that fruit tree to put it in a pot to find out exactly where you want to put it, the place that you want to put it, the place that it thrives the most. Because it's one thing for you to dig a hole, put the tree in there, and then later on go back and be like, I really didn't want that tree to be right there. I think it would have did better over there. So with putting it in a pot, it gives you the advantage of being able to go back, change it, and put it somewhere else without even disturbing the root or bothering the tree. The best time we already said was winter and spring. while the tree is still dormant. We said to put your tree in a sunny spot and give it a liquid feed. And this will start helping the tree to get adapted to the soil. It'll help the tree roots to start getting established and getting comfortable within its environment. Also, it'll help the tree to grow. You don't want a spindly little tree. You want you a nice tree that's starting to get thicker and you can see the growth on a weekly basis, basically. If you're feeding it right and if you're doing it right, you don't want to overfeed it. You want to feed it just right. That's why I say do a liquid feed, because you're not subjecting to overfeeding the tree with a granular feed that might be a little bit too strong. One of the trees that you can grow, believe it or not, in a pot is an apple tree. As long as that apple tree is on a root stock, dwarf root stock, you can very well grow an apple tree in a pot. Also, with that apple tree, you want to make sure, if you got a small space, you don't want to have to buy two trees. So make sure you get a self-pollinating apple tree, which is an apple tree that doesn't need another apple tree for it to fruit and pollinate. So look for that too. If you go into these nurseries, if you go online to the nursery, they will tell you if it's self-pollinating. If it's not self-pollinating, they will tell you the other variety that you would need in order to grow. So you definitely want to get a self-pollinating tree. How to Garden, hello, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Another tree that if you have limited space is an orange tree. All citrus trees, the majority of all citrus trees can be grown in a pot. If you are in a southern state, a lot of you will put your trees in the ground because you have it. But if you're in a southern state and you don't have the room, there's no reason why you still can't grow. If you just got a patio or you just got a deck, you still can grow a lemon tree, an orange tree in a pot. Make sure that you have the correct feed for that tree. Make sure that you have a nice enough size pot for that tree as well. And you have a sunny spot, because those trees require sun. If you are in the north and you say, I can't grow citrus in the north because we get too cold. Guess what? I grow citrus in the north. I have a Meyer lemon tree that is inside. I bring it inside in the winter, take it outside in the summer. It's not a big deal. It's in a pot, and that gives me the ability to move it from one spot to another where it will thrive continuously all year round. So that is a very good thing to do. Put your citrus in the pot, regardless if you're in the north or if you're in the southern states. Cherry trees. Cherry trees take about 4 years before it starts to bear fruit. Go ahead and put that cherry tree in a pot. At least every year, you'll be able to enjoy all the beautiful blossoms that that tree is going to give you. And you'll be able to see it. Set it in a pot. Try to get a dwarf variety if you can. And there it is. You got your cherry tree. Because again, it's going to take at least 4 years before it starts to bear fruit anyway. So start it off in a pot. Lazy Liz Life, hello. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you made it. It's not my Sunday. It's not my Monday. It's a Sunday because I won't be on tomorrow, but I don't want to start missing weeks already when I just got back. So cherry tree is a good one to grow in the pot. And I have two cherry trees, and the blossoms on that cherry tree, the pink, the white blossom flowers are absolutely beautiful. I love when spring comes and you start to see the blossoms come out. James, thank you for being here. Hello. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Let's see. We have pear trees. If you have a pear tree that's on a dwarf rootstock, you can grow that tree in a pot. One of my pear trees I kept in a pot the first year, and then I transferred it to the ground. But guess what? Everything that I did last year out in my orchard, that beautiful orchard that I built, all those trees about to come out of there because they're going into my urban garden. So it's like I wish I would have put them all in a pot. It would have made it a whole lot easier for me to transport them and put them in an urban garden. The lesson that I learned from last year is patience and to think the process all the way out through. Put your trees the first year, I don't care if you're going to put them in the ground. First year you get your trees out of the box from Stock Brothers, Grow Organics, or any of these other nursery fast growing trees, or Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's. Put them in a pot the first year. Let them get established. Put them in a bigger, take them out that nursery pot. Nature Nine and family, thank you for being here. And sit them in a nice pot for the first year. You don't have to put them direct in the ground. Even though you have the ability to do it, you don't have to. Let it get established. Let those roots get comfortable around that new root environment that you're going to give it. And then the next year, put it in the ground. Especially from coming from a nursery or coming, if you're buying a tree from Walmart, Lowe's, they're probably already woke. They're not bare root. Those you have to be careful with. You can't bring those trees from those nurseries or stores straight to your yard, because one of the number one mistakes that I made is when I came straight from Lowe's with my cherry tree and I put it in the yard, as soon as I put it in the ground, it starts suffering. One, because I didn't harden it off. The environment that it was in the nursery wasn't the same environment that my yard had, for one. And for two, I don't know if that tree was diseased or not, and I just put it amongst my other trees, put it in quarantine for a while. We all know about the social distancing, do it with your trees. Put it in quarantine for a while, make sure it's okay, make sure it's doing well before you decide to put it amongst your other trees. So make sure you have a quarantine area in your yard. And then with pots, you got your good trees that's already established in your pots, and then you got your new trees that we're going to put over here in the quarantine area until it's built and proven that it can go amongst your other trees that's already good to go. So remember that. Like I said, orange trees and other citrus will do very well in a sunny spot and will do very well in a pot. Whether you live in the south or the north, you could bring them on inside. Cherry trees would do well. Pear trees would do well. Pear trees would need about 6 hours of sunlight to grow. So make sure you put them in a space that's going to give them at least 6 hours of sunlight. Some of our trees, remember, when selecting trees, whether you're in the south or the north, especially with peach trees, and I think cherry trees, some stone fruit needs a certain amount of chill hours. If your state can't give those chill hours, then that's not the tree for you. Especially when you're picking them from an online nursery like Stock Brothers. They'll tell you how many chill hours that they need, but if you're going to a store in your area, in your state, they normally won't sell you a tree that's not beneficial for that area. Normally, most of the time. So remember that as well. A lot of people in California, they might have problems growing apple trees because apple trees require a certain amount of chill hours. And you guys might not get those chill hours. That's why you're not known for growing apples out there. And some peaches need a certain amount of chill hours. So you make sure that you have that too. Those are things to look out. Whether you're growing it in a pot or not, it got to have the right environment for that particular tree that you pick. Let's see. Let me go back to my chat. See if I missed anybody. And I want to make sure that I'm reading all the chat. Okay, Nature Line, and speak to everyone in the chat. I was given 2 lemon trees. I transplanted them into a bigger pot. That was last year. I think I might be getting lemons this year. Lazy Liz. Yes, you probably will. You got the little white flowers on them. You probably will get lemons because I got a lemon tree last year, right at the end of the season, and already it's producing lemon. It was a Meyer lemon that I bought from one of the nurseries here. But I'm telling you, that Meyer lemon is a picky little lemon tree. It looked like it was beautiful when I got it, but when I brought it home and as the weeks and the months went past, it started looking like the little Charlie Brown tree that sits on top of the piano. It was looking real bad. So it's holding on, but it's full of blossoms. I wish I would have showed you, but it's full of blossoms now. I got a couple of lemons coming in on there, so I'm really happy with the tree. So, yep, you will probably get lemons this year, Liz, for sure, on that tree. And that's pretty good. Backyard gardener is speaking the truth. I am going through this now. Yeah, right place, right spot, right place is very important. Right site. When you, I don't know if in your town, have you ever rolled down a road and you look at all these trees and they're like the power company and cut the trees all up and the trees is divided like this? They didn't cut the tree down. Anybody ever experienced that in their area? That's because that particular tree was in the wrong spot, right over power lines. If you are doing an urban garden, what I'm learning as I go through the process of getting my urban garden, yes, Charlie Brown tree. My urban garden is that I can't plant a tree. My tree have to be 6 feet, no, 5 feet off of the property line of the neighbor to my left, 5 feet off the property line from my neighbor from my right, 5 feet off the property line of the alley, and 15 to 10 feet off the sidewalk. That limits me to a lot of space. When you grow a tree and your tree starts to flood over into the neighbor's yard, if it's not a tree that they like or they desire, that neighbor has the right to cut that tree, your tree that's over in their yard, to cut those limbs off your tree. And if they don't know what they're doing, that can affect your tree. So the best thing is to not let your tree go over into the neighbor yard. If you got a cool neighbor that like, well, hey, what comes over here is mine, which is really how it is. It's fair game. They can pick the lemons or the oranges or fruit off of that tree for themselves. You can't get mad about it because you're on their property line. Short bus pull up. Hello. Thank you for pulling up on me. I appreciate you always when you come into my live. Thank you so much. Another tree that's good in pots is apricots. Apricots is frost hardy trees. They grow very well. They're frost hardy when they're dormant in the wintertime. They grow very well in pots. Again, remember what rootstock you're on. That's the main important thing. Basically, to me, you can grow any fruit tree in a container if you got the right rootstock. I think with the dwarf rootstock, your tree will get from 8 to 10 feet, and that's if you let it just go and grow. You can always keep it tamed to 6 feet or whatever. You can always trim your tree. I have a tree out there that's a Santa Rosa plum I kept in a wine barrel. It did well in a wine barrel. It stayed a certain amount. As soon as I put it in the ground, it took off. It took off. And it was in a wine barrel for like 3 years. Once I put it in the ground, it really took off and started growing. But it's still a small tree. It's a short tree because it's a dwarf tree. I also got an apple tree that's self-pollinating, that's in a pot out there that's doing really well. And my mulberries are in a pot for now until I figure out where I want to put it. Patricia, thank you for coming in. It is so good to see you. I really appreciate you being here. Hello, how are you? Guys, we have some really good channels in here, so feel free. Feel free to write these channels down and go back and visit Nature 9. how to garden. If look, Short Boys Pull Up is not a gardener, but he is one hilarious fella. If you got a day that you just like, oh, I feel so blue, go to Short Bus Pull Up. He cheer you up real quick. Patricia, excellent, beautiful garden. I love what she's doing in her yard. So definitely check these channels out. Another tree, which is one of my favorites, is fig trees. I don't care if you in the north or the south. I just feel like fig trees grow better in contained spaces, which is a pot. A lot there's some uh information out there that fig trees can mess up your foundation because they have a very strong tap root. And it very well can be true. But keeping them in keeping them in a container and containing them, I think that they thrive even better. Now, if you're trying to do an orchard or something, yeah, you'll put them in the ground. But you got to be careful where you plant these trees. To me, you have to be careful where you plant any tree if you're going to put it down in the ground. Because once I said, if you got to pull that tree back up, every time you pull that tree back up, you reset that tree or you taking a chance of damaging that tree. Trust me, I know because I got to pull all these trees up in my orchard back there and transport them somewhere else. So that's the big mistake that I made. The good thing is the trees aren't over a year old and I just got them, so they haven't really gotten established that well. So I'm thankful for that. Let's see. Thank you, Melanie, for the 10-minute warning. I appreciate that. Space where I was definitely have more trees. Yeah. You know what, Liz? I have space, but I think I got an addiction. Like I'm buying stuff. I even bought something twice. And I was like, oh my God, I got this tree already. You gotta be careful when you on these magazines and stuff and you looking through them and you get to order and stuff. It's, have an addiction to buying seeds, you can have an addiction to buying trees too. And I got it bad because I think I have, if I get out there and start counting those trees, I think I can get up to 40. And then the crazy part is I got two more on the way. And I'm like, okay, I'm already imposed on my son's yard. Now I'm about to go down the street to my sister's yard because I've only so many can go in the space that I have. We only allowed to grow so many trees, and I think that's 6 to 8 trees in a lot. So I'm like, I need help. I gotta stop. I gotta, you can get addicted to stuff easy. I used to be addicted to QVC and HSN, just ordering stuff. Don't even need it. Don't even open the boxes. I got boxes over here. I ain't even opening when it came. You definitely got to be careful with that. But fig trees is another tree that's very good for growing in containers. You could keep that. You could keep that tree in containers for as long as you want to, as long as. And what I like about the fig trees, you could trim their roots. If it get root bound, you take it out in a dormant season and you cut the roots and you can put it right back in that, no matter how big the tree gets, you can put it right back in that 20-gallon, 15-gallon pot and it'll thrive. Just put some new soil in there because once it starts to growing, it'll start to eat up the soil. Shelly Young, thank you for being here. Hello, Tyree, Taishi, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I don't want to mess the name up, but I think it's Cynthia. I'll say Cynthia because I think that's what it is. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So definitely, when you are out there getting some trees or you got a rental property, you might not want to put the tree. Your landlord might not let you put some trees. Okay, I'll put it in a pot. And when you move to your next spot, you can take it with you, as long as you can travel it. You can keep that tree maintained to the height that you want, and you can keep that tree in the pot that you want. Whether it's the only thing that I don't recommend for fruit trees is the clay pots. And a lot of people might say, oh no, clay pots is the best. That clay pot after a while give off a salt. It gives off a film, and it can be kind of too much for certain trees. So I don't do clay pot. If you're going to put it in a pot, make sure you invest in a good pot that the sun rays won't break down. So you want to make sure that you put it in a real good pot. I got 42 trees planting on more. Yep, you addicted, Hot God. We both got to go to the tree AA or NA club because you got it bad too. Those trees will get you. Fit my design, my neighbor's yard, and some in the woods. Yeah, you got a lot. You got some nice land though. You got some really nice land. So I can see you just going all out. Norman Honey, thank you for being here. Be sure to chat. Lots of flowers for bees to love on the trees. I'm so glad you said that because I'm gonna tell you something. If you put your flowers and stuff, or put you a nice flower area around your trees, when them bees come through, they pollinating them trees. You will get so much fruit, you will be like, wow. And if you become a beekeeper and keep bees, you really gonna have an environment for them that they'll love. So definitely, I'm glad that you said that. Make sure that you plant lots of flowers. The bees love it, and the bees is what's gonna pollinate your trees from tree to tree. Let's see. Catherine's Garden, hello. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. How do you fertilize your fruit trees? I give my fruit trees a liquid fertilizer every week during the growing season. I give them a granular fertilizer maybe about every 3 months. Give me that bag of orange fertilizer. Hold it up so I can see. Nope, the other one. Yep, can you bring it around here? This is a fertilizer. One of the fertilizers that I use. Now this is for my citrus trees that I use. And it's called citrus tone. I put this on my Meyer lemon and it works well. Now I have a stone fruit. For my stone fruits, I have a fruit and nut fertilizer that I don't think is in here that I use as well. For my liquid fertilizer that I give them every week, I give them a liquid feed. That's normally cat meal or seaweed that I'll put in that. Let me see. Angela Busy Bee Garden and Homestead, hello, how are you? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all coming out, making it to the live. Thank you. So yeah, those are the fertilizers that I use, and it works pretty well. And one thing about it is that you definitely have to know what fertilizer to use, how much to use, because this is going, remember we had talked about the NPK? These numbers is going to be very important to your fruit tree when you're trying to get it to bear some fruit for you. So you definitely want to know your N, your P, and what the K stands for so that you will know what you need and the numbers, the correct numbers that you need for that particular tree. But Stock Brothers got some pretty awesome information, and another site has some pretty awesome information on how and to fertilize your trees. Morning Gardener, hello, how are you? Peace, love, and hope. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys coming in and rocking with me. Did we say avocado? Avocado is another tree that you can grow in a container. It does very well in a container. The lemon tree, the lime tree, your orange tree, all your citruses grow in containers. So if you got a small space or apartment and you got a little balcony and you just want to grow a tree, remember, you could keep that tree trimmed as small as you want it. You don't have to have a big 20-foot tree hanging off your balcony. You can have it down to 6 feet. You can have it down to 4 feet if that's what you desire. You have to know how to prune your trees to fit your specific desire. I'll be doing a pruning tree video out here soon. The weather is kind of warming up and I can get out there and start pruning my trees before they come out of dormancy. It's the best time to prune your tree. And I also have to do a spray on my trees before they come out of dormancy as well. And I'm running a little bit behind on that, but I'm gonna get to it before they come out. So this is the time to start. Do your research on your trees. Definitely you want to do your research because every state is different. Every environment is different. And with different environments calls for different times that you want to do certain things to your trees. Like if you live in Florida, they probably already done sprayed their trees maybe a month ago or 2 months ago and trimmed their trees. Me, I'm in Michigan. I still got a little time to play with that and get those trees trimmed. Not that much though, because I got to get out there and get it done. So I'll be doing a video on that. Most of the lives that I do, I'll do a video to kind of back it up. The lives first, and then I'll show you what I'm doing to kind of collaborate with what I said in the live. So if you got limited room, self-pollinating is the best trees to get. If you another good thing, build Organic's Best Urban Garden has a lot of trees in containers, and they're like in 40-gallon tubs. And he built a trolley to push those trees around. If you're on like a concrete area, that would be great to move those trees around. Even if you got lemon trees and stuff in your house for the summer and you want to move them, put them things on the dolly because picking those pots up is not always the best thing for you. Carolina Gardner, hello. Thank you for being here. I don't know you could do avocados in containers. Yes, ma'am, Liz. You could do avocados in containers. The thing about growing in containers is the feeding. You have to feed that tree. You have to give that tree what it wants because it's not in the ground. It's not being supplied with what the nutrients in the ground is going to automatically supply it is. So it's a little more work growing in containers, but it's very much possible. And once you learn that tree and learn what it wants and learn what it's asking for, because your trees and your plants, they speak to you. They tell you when they get to limping over, they like, come on, give me a little water. Or they get to drying up, they'll let you know because they'll stop producing. Okay, I seen one person ready to plant my seeds, got half done in the field. Peace, love, and hope. That is awesome. That is really, really good. How do you keep your peach tree healthy? My peach looks damaged by bugs. You know why? Cynthia, I last year got bared 2 fruits, and I was so excited because it was the first time my Red Haven bared the fruit. And as I was inspecting it, it was full of bugs and goo. You have to spray your trees in the dormant season. It's a dormant spray oil. Some people don't believe in spraying their trees. Some people do. I gotta spray them because I don't want to. I don't want to bite into an apple or bite into anything cherry, and a worm or a bug come out. I just will freak out and probably won't eat that fruit no more. You gotta spray them. So look up dormant tree fruit tree spray. They sell it at Home Depot. They sell it online, Amazon. That's what I have to go out and get. And you have to spray that tree before it wakes up, if I'm not mistaken. And you got to spray it when you don't have rain washing it away. What that does is it kills off the overwintering bugs that lives inside and around your tree bark. It'll kill them off. So when your trees start bearing fruit, those bugs won't go into your fruit and live. And then you bite into it and then wind up just living in you. And that ain't good either. So yes, that's what you gotta do a little research on that. Harmony Garden, hello, how are you? Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Let's see. Who else do we have? I'm trying to get everybody questions that I can. And if I can't answer them or I skip over you, if you're knowledgeable in this area or you experience that, feel free to answer the question too. Planted grapes and blueberries today also. Grapes and blueberries are one of my favorite. We did, Angela, we did small fruit last week. And we were talking about the grapes, the blueberries, the blackberries, the strawberries. Those are great small fruits. If you don't have a big yard, you can turn to that. You don't have to be without fruits. You can have fruit. Catherine Garden, let's see. How to garden, yes. We did a spray when the peach tree is still dormant. Yep. You got to do it while the tree is dormant. That particular spray, you have to do it while the tree is dormant. Now they got a fungicide copper spray that's totally different than a dormant oil spray. It's different reasons. The fungicide copper spray is mostly to fight the diseases that your tree might be susceptible. Your tree might be I'm losing my words, but anyway, that your tree can get. So you have to be careful and know which spray is for what. Fungicide copper spray, when your tree is budding, it's not going to hurt. But that dormant oil, the tree has to be in dormancy. That dormant spray oil, it has to be in dormancy, and that's for a whole nother thing. The fungicide copper spray is to stop all the diseases that your tree can get or are prone to getting. It's to kind of help with that peach tree curl and all of that, cankers and all of those things that come on your trees. So that's about it. Guys, I appreciate you all coming in today because I can't make it tomorrow. I got a whole lot of running and I have to do and some appointments that I have to make. So I appreciate you guys rocking over here with me today. Let me see. I got to do a copper spray this week before the summer humidity starts. Yep. That copper spray is important, especially on peach trees, Liz. That copper spray is important, and nectarine. I had a Sunglow nectarine that got that peach tree curl disease. I forget what it's called, and it wiped my whole tree. A fire blight. It wiped my whole tree out fast because I didn't know what it was. I had so many different things in the garden, and that was money and time wasted. So slow down, buy your trees a little slow so that you'll know exactly what to do with each tree. Oh, anytime. I'm glad that you're motivated and you out there getting it done. Thank you. Nature 9, Angela, Mikey Flo, thank you for coming in. Happy Sunday to you. It's been a while. I've been trying to keep up with your videos. Thank you for coming in. Guys, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot, and it helps keep me amongst the algorithm on the good side anyway. And that's all I got. Let's get out there and grow something. Remember, when you're going out there to different places, do your research. Look for that. Look for on the tag. See if it says dwarf. I think the only place that I've seen dwarf trees written on the tags is like Home Depot is kind of good for it, and maybe Lowe's. With Walmart, they don't really give you a whole lot of information about the rootstock or anything, but you'll see the graft union on that tree. But you got to know if it's a dwarf, semi-dwarf, or standard rootstock that is on there. So that's it, everybody. Happy gardening to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Let's get out there and grow something. Have a great day.